Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be playing with magazine collage and with proportions. So we are starting out in this very messy background page that I had in my journal. And it had been sitting there for quite a while and I just wanted to do something with it. So I decided that I would do a magazine collage. So I've started off, I've cut out some images from a magazine. And I'm going in with some gel medium to glue everything down. So I've deliberately chosen a smaller body and a really large head. I wanted to have that juxtaposition. And that's one of the things about magazine collage is what makes it look unusual usually is the fact that you're playing with proportions. So it could be that you've got a tiny body and a big head, or it could be you've got, a big head and small eyes, or a small head and huge lips, a little body and really long big legs, or you're playing around proportions. It's not supposed to look normal, so to speak. That's what gives it sort of that really eye-catching, unusual effect on your page. So to frame up my collage, I'm going around with some washi tape. So lots of different washi tapes. It's a great way to use up all the tapes that you've got. I'm sure if you're anything like me, you've got quite a lot hanging around. I'm just tearing them up into little bits. You can see there are different widths. So you can see when I'm drawing around the outside with my black pen that I've got wiggly bits that are sticking out. They don't quite sit straight together. That's okay, it sort of adds to the effect of it, so it makes it really sort of rough and ready. I also tore some smaller bits, particularly of metallic tapes. It's a really great way to use up your metallic tapes and glitter tapes, just to add little highlights of pops of colour around the paper. So once I had finished gluing everything down, doing my frame, then I'm going in with my paint pens to add some detail to my images. So this is one of the reasons why I really like magazine collage, is you start off with an image, so you don't have to draw anything, but you can make it your own. And whether that's you drawing over the top of it, or stenciling over the top of it, stamping over the top of it, it's just you adding your extra details to it to make it look interesting. So she's sort of leaning on these big stack things, and I've decided to put pink dots on and green lines. There's nothing difficult about anything I'm doing in those bits and pieces, but just adds those colours to the page. And it means that you can colour coordinate as well. So choose colours that you've got in the background, or it could be completely opposite colours, so it really stands out. One of the things that I do with all my magazine collage is I outline everything, usually with a black pen. And you can sort of see this as it comes up in the body. It just really pushes everything out from the background. It makes everything pop. It also kind of turns everything two-dimensional into a more cartoon looking effect than just leaving it as is. Now there's absolutely nothing wrong with leaving it as is. I just find I like the effect of outlining everything a little bit more. So I'm using a range of different paint pens to draw over the top of this. I tend to use the 5M, which is the quite thick pen, and the 1M, both in bullet tips. Those are the ones I use the most. I think I may have a 3M there, which is kind of in between the two of them, but use whatever you've got. And gel pens work just as well over the top. Copic markers are great as well, because they're a little bit translucent. They're not as opaque as you go on. They're really great for almost tinting. So if you wanted sort of like a stained lip, or blusher or something, Copic markers are really good, or alcohol markers are really good for that. You can, if you've got really great brush skills, instead of using paint pen, you could obviously use your brush and paint on that. So you don't need to have paint pens to do this. I'm just really unco when it comes to this. I'm not very good at drawing neatly. or painting neatly, so I find it much easier to use paint pens. I've got just that little bit more control about it. The other thing that I really love about doing magazine collage is just because you've got one shape or one thing on it doesn't mean you can change it. So, you know, I had one hairstyle on it and now she's got a completely different one. I'm just going around, so I painted it out with my black markers and then going in with my white pen just to highlight and push it out from the background. You'll also notice, you know, with her eyes, I really like changing the eye colour on my images as well. They usually get changed to blue, probably because I've got blue eyes. I just find that I tend to do all my eyes blue. Weird, I know. So once I've finished playing around, this process can take as long as you want, or it can be really quick and easy. I tend to get, you know, a bit excited about it and just keep adding detail and adding detail and adding detail. But it is up to you. So I'm going in now and writing a quote on my page, and I'm using a thin pen to write it out. So stay classy, sassy, and a little badassy. I think that was a Delusions quote, actually. So I'm using a thin pen because you can see that I don't have much room, but by writing it out with thin pen, I can sort of see how much space I've got. Then I'm going back in and just thickening up my letters somewhat and spreading them out so it fills in the space. And that's one of the things I really like about doing this writing, is you can sort of work out how much space you've got to fill it in. You can see there I actually wrote straight over her arm as well. I'm not particular that I have to go around everything. If it ends up I write over my image, I write over my image, because in most cases when it comes to these sorts of things, I find the quotes probably the bit that I'm focusing on rather than the image in the background. So I don't mind if the quote gets written over the top of my image. Usually my image is bold enough that it can deal with it. So I've just put a little drop shadow on my letters just to push them out from the background. And now I'm going in and doing a little bit of journaling. And quite often when I'm doing magazine collage, I will do this. I will put a bigger quote on one side and then I'll do my journaling on the other side. And what I do is just go in and draw, usually with a white pen. Don't know why. Just stands out from the background a little bit, wibbly wobbly lines, and I write in the background. So in the close-up you'll see that I use the entire width of the line for my letters, so they're all sort of regular shape. They're filling up the entire line, and what that does is, while that journaling is readable, because it's sort of so close together, they're varied heights and widths, it kind of makes it look more like a pattern in the background rather than actual journaling. So sort of from a distance, you know, it looks more like patterns in the background. When you get up close to it, yes, you can read it. So it just depends. Quite often you'll see me sort of do that asemic writing, which is that sort of illegible writing on my pages, really swirly, whereas this sort of writing, yes, you can read it, but it kind of acts as a bit of a pattern in the background as well. So I hope you have a go at doing a bit of magazine collage. It is so much fun. It's all about those proportions. So remember, make it crazy. Make big heads, small bodies, small heads, huge bodies, long legs, short arms. Mix it up. It's what makes it really interesting and fun to play with. If you get really stuck and you've got kids at home, cut out a whole heap of images and ask the kids to put them together, and I can guarantee you they'll come up with some amazing designs for you. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye for now.